I would say the book itself has really helped me become the expert in the speaking industry. And so, like, whenever I went to NSA last year, I handed out a bunch of my books and I've gotten callbacks from it.
Hey everyone, this is Melanie Johnson. Welcome to the Elite Publishing Podcast. We are talking about how to get booked as a speaker today. I know all of you authors, I want to say 100% of you want to become speakers. A lot of you are trying to get on stages, or maybe you're already on stages and still need to get paid more or just get paid in general. So we have Nona Prather with us today. She is the author of 24 Ways to Get Paid to Speak, right? Perfect. That's exactly what we want, how to get paid to speak. So, Nona, thanks for joining us today. Appreciate you coming.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here.
Yep. So, tell us a little bit about how you got started in speaking, real quick. And also, I want to preface this interview. We did another interview with Nona at our Elite Expert Insider, and she goes really deep into tips and things for speaking. But today, we're going to talk more about publishing and then a little bit about getting on stages. Okay.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so I got started. A lot of people always want to know, how in the world did you get in the speaking industry? Because it's not your typical job. Well,
Yeah.
my dad started when I was only 8 years old, is when he quit his full time job to become a full time safety consultant and speaker, starting from the ground up. He now has 12 books, and he would probably definitely say part of his success was his 12 books, some more than others. His first one is still his most popular, and then he's written some like workbooks and training books as well, plus some
Yeah.
others. Anyway, so yeah, so he really believed in book writing and he published himself. And then I have my first book and working on my second one right now. So obviously, I'm a believer in writing books.
All right. Yeah. So, why did it take you? When did your first book come out?
So this one came out in 2023, and it took me, I honestly, my secret to writing it was I'm not, I mean, like a writer naturally. It's a struggle for me. Like, I'll think
Yeah.
about it in the shower or in bed at night, and I'll like a whole book will come out of my brain. Then I wake up the next morning, none of it comes out again. I don't know if that's just me. It's like my brain just stops when I'm actually like, okay, I'm sitting down to write this book. But what helped me was I actually blocked it out on my calendar for 2 hours at a time for a couple days a week.
Oh,
And that I would have my husband and my daughter, because we were living full time in our camper at that time, because this was right after pandemic when I started writing it, and I would have them leave, and that was just all that I did. And I just sat outside in my camper chair and just wrote until I couldn't think of anything else to write. And so that's how I did it. But I know a lot of people talk about retreats, and then there's ghost writers. There's all kinds of different ways.
yeah.
Whenever hear someone says, "Oh, I don't have the time or the energy or the knowledge to even write a book," it's like a big hairy goal that people get scared of. I would say there's lots
Yeah.
of different ways to get it accomplished. And so it's not impossible, even if you're not a writer. It's still possible.
I agree 100%. And I always encourage people, you can talk your book today and have, just go on a transcript, go on Otter and have it transcribed if you want.
Yes.
But I really like that what you did is you were focused and you set a schedule for yourself. And I think that does work for a lot of authors. It's just that discipline of doing
Yes.
it, even if you didn't feel like doing it, you still did it. You
Yes.
forced yourself to, like, this is my time and I'm going to do it. What kind of results have you seen have your book? How have you been able to leverage your book for your business?
Yeah, well, so I was never a speaker myself. I was always the background help for other speakers. But
Yeah.
then whenever my book came out, I started getting asked to speak myself. Like, I'm literally leaving this afternoon to go to National Speakers Association New Mexico to do a talk because of someone asked me to speak because they read my book. So it has opened up a lot of doors for me personally. I have been able to find clients by giving my book away, because I use it as I don't have a business card anymore. I give my book. Like, so whenever I go somewhere, I usually have like 10 to 20 of my books, and I give them
Yeah.
away and say, "Hey, contact me anytime." And then I usually put like a card information, like how to get in touch with me, inside the book.
Uh-huh.
So that's worked really well for me. But I go to a lot of networking events. I talk to a lot of people, hand my book out to a lot of people. So for me, it's been a really great tool. And I mean, it cost me like 250 a book to print them.
Like
And so
nothing.
that's why it's so easy for me to just give them away. It's cheaper for me to give them away in person than it is to even mail them. But it's still
Yeah.
only like $5 to even mail it. So It's a
And I would say a tip for you is take that QR code. If you did you self-publish the book or
no.
did you have a publisher?
I had a publisher. They're in California, Indie Books International, and it was a good experience for me. They helped me because I didn't know where to even start with publishing,
Yeah,
and then I was like, oh my gosh, now I have to design the cover and all, for me, it was worth getting someone to help me. And of course, I didn't know about Elite
yeah,
Publishing then.
yeah,
So
that's okay.
I would have explored some other places. But yeah, I think any way you can get help with publishing your book is important because just like speaking,
Yeah.
it's impossible to do it all yourself, or it's a very long journey if you try to do it yourself.
Yeah, I think it's smart to have experts do it. We were just we were in a mastermind group and a guy pulled up his book that was self-published and people were critiquing it and like the title wasn't right, the cover wasn't right, all these things weren't right. And then they asked us for our advice also and it was because he was doing it by himself. He didn't have people mentoring him or anything about doing it. So I think it is really important. I would say on your book, I'm going to give you ask the publisher because you have that QR code right that you're having to print every time and put it in the book.
Yeah.
What we do for our authors is in the very front of the book, right before the table of contents, is print it right in there.
Oh, okay.
Have that QR code in the book. So then it's right there. You know what I'm saying? And then it's also on Amazon. So when
Oh,
someone previews your book, they can scan that QR code and get in touch with you. We like to tie it to a bonus if we can, like it's to like the 25th or the next 5 ways, extra
yeah.
bonus ways of how to make money with your book are here, or the secrets to storytelling, or whatever you want to put in there and add that in there. So then the book is working for you in overtime and you don't have to print that extra card and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good
So tell us,
awesome.
yeah, that's what we're here for. We like to give good coaching while we're on these calls. So, has there been anything that you've, oh my gosh, this has happened since my book has been published
Yeah. I've got
that helped your business or grown your business or new opportunities?
Yeah, I would say the book itself has really helped me become the expert in the speaking industry. And so, like, whenever I went to NSA last year, I handed out a bunch of my books and I've gotten callbacks from it. And then people, which I'm kind of embarrassed a little bit about. It is hard to put like your heart and soul into a book and your personal stories into a book because that's kind of how
Yeah.
mine is. It's 24 chapters and there's 24 stories and each one centers around a story of a learning story about like maybe something that good happened or bad happened or that could have happened better or that changed
Yeah.
my industry. So it's kind of how my book is set up. And I've gotten a lot of people who come up to me and say, oh my gosh, I love your stories, especially the one about growing up with your dad and growing up in the speaking industry. And you
Yeah.
really are an expert. And I would love to hear more about how you and your family moved into an RV and paid off your debt so that you could start your booking agency. And people come up to me and they want to hear even more from the story, which
Yeah.
is why I decided I think I'm going to write. I'm in the process of writing my second book with a lot more story details than details.
Yeah.
A lot more stories than details. Yeah,
That's
'cause
a
that's
great
what I
tip.
get. Most of the responses are people are like, "Wow, it was so informative, but it was also great because the stories were really good and they really tied into it." So I get a lot of compliments on that portion of the book. But sometimes whenever someone says, "Oh, I read your book," I kind of cringe because I'm like, "Oh, what'd you think?" And then I'm like, "Oh, it was good. Oh, okay, good."
Yeah. And that's great advice. So anybody who's writing a book out there, stories, I always tell our author, it just can't be a bunch of data or minutia out there, of how to. You've got to have the stories in there to illustrate it. Okay, let's jump into speaking because I know a lot of our authors are listening to this podcast because they want to know how to get on stages. What are your tips you can give these authors? They've just written a book. They've never spoken before. How are they going to get on a stage? What's the steps that they should follow?
Yeah, start slow, lower expectations. It's not an overnight success business. um, you know, really look at those free gigs and see what the audience is. If you can network there, if you can give your book out to people, stay connected with those and always ask for a referral, attendees list, always be updating your speaker demo reel, no matter where you go, whether
Mm,
it's free. And what my dad told me one time, because we went to an event and it was free to the public and it was when he in his early starting years. We get there and
yeah.
I've got all of his books set up in the back of the room thinking we're going to have hundreds of people. 3 people showed up. But I said, "What are you gonna do? Are you gonna cancel the event?" He goes, "No, I'm not canceling it. I'm just gonna pretend like there are 200 people here, and I'm gonna rock
Right.
it just like I would if I was getting paid 30 grand." And he was, it was in his early years, so it was
Yeah.
just a small honorarium, but he knocked it out of the park just like he would if that room had been completely full. And I think a lot of people, like, I just had someone not turn down an event that she didn't think there was anything in it for her, but I personally feel like it was a good networking event that could have, you never know who knows someone, which is why I say I'll
Right.
meet with anyone, I'll talk to anyone, because you never know who knows who, and this business is all about relationships. Who likes you? Who wants to work with you? Are you an expert? And that's how you get known in the industry.
Yeah.
So,
And especially practice. If you haven't, most of the authors that have not been a speaker yet and are writing their book, it's like, well, you haven't even been on a stage. You need
yes,
practice. And you can practice in front of your mirror all day, but doing it in front of people is a totally different thing.
yes,
Yeah, you've just got to get out there. So even if it's for free, just look at it. You get feedback. And like you said, in today's world, you can record it, you can add it to your speaker reel, you can put it on your social media. And then again, if they don't, I saw some guy that was speaking at an event and they did show part of the audience and there was not many people there. They had a lot of chairs, but most of them were empty when he was speaking. And I thought maybe there were 20 people there, and 20 people is a good audience if they're all together,
right.
but it was like they're all spread out. So it looked like there should have been 300 and there were only 20. So you're like, but still, he got that experience and got that exposure, right? And if those 20 people might be 20 people that are going to buy a service from him.
Yes,
If 10 of those people want to go to the back of the room and buy his book and sign up for his consulting gig or whatever, then that's
exactly.
well worth it. So,
Exactly. People
you
forget
know,
that. They think it's all about the paycheck of being there, and they don't realize that's only one small portion of it. I tell all of my clients, I say, if you work with me, you have to promise me that you're going to be easy to work with, you're going to be flexible, and you're going to go in there. You're not just going to go in, do your 1 hour talk and leave.
yeah,
You're going to be there for the networking breakfast. You're going to be there for the lunch. You're going to talk to people. You're going to ask that decision maker to introduce you to other important people.
yeah,
That's the way you grow your business, not by going in, being the star of the show, and then leaving immediately afterwards without actually talking to anyone. That
yeah,
is just drives me nuts because I'm like, you know how much money you're leaving out on the table and how many connections
yeah.
you're leaving out on the table. So it drives me crazy when people come in, do their talk, and then immediately leave. Drives me nuts.
So at Speaker Elevation, you get people speaking gigs, but what walk us through step by step? Like, I'm a new author, I'm not speaking. Would you even take me on, or do I need experience to work with you?
A little bit of experience is good. Like you said, like some free events, they don't have to be like a major keynoter. In
Mhm.
fact, my perfect fit
Yeah,
client is not the major keynoters that's looking to make all their money from just speaking. But
yeah,
my perfect fit client is someone who is particular in a particular industry that is looking to dive deep and to become that expert in that industry so that they
mhm.
become well known. My client Gary, I don't know if I told that story on the last one or this one. I can't remember. But, he became their expert from that one gig that I found him, and then he ended up being their keynoter, and they've booked him many times, and they have told other organizations about him. So he's become that well-known industry speaker, but it took a lot of time for us to get there for him to finally find
Yeah,
that magic supporter in that particular association that helped him grow his business by being
yeah,
able, asking for the referral, the testimonial, and meeting other decision makers in the audience. That's
yeah,
how it happened. And then I have other people who are got really great reviews as a speaker, but whenever I talked to them, they didn't want to rehire him because he wasn't a good they didn't enjoy working with him personally, even though he was a good
yeah,
speaker. So I've had that happen as well. So it's not just enough to be a good speaker. You need to be an expert. You need to be good to work with and make that decision maker shine because that is their biggest like fear is to bring in someone
yeah.
who's going to just bomb on stage because then that makes them look bad.
And I had someone give me a tip, like the person who's booked you, you need to thank them and go up and talk to them afterwards and
Oh
tell
yeah.
them thank you and all that, or even mentioning them from stage. Thanks for having me,
Yep.
whoever the booker was. And then that helps a lot.
You can give them like a little handwritten thank you note along with your
Yeah.
book. Like that goes a long way because just think about it. They put that thank you note on their desk and they look at it every day. Who are they going to
Yeah.
call?
It makes
When
you
they're
feel
ready
good.
for
I'm
it.
not a good thank you note writer because I'm not a good writer and I'm a terrible speller. So if I could just do a text thank you is better for me because I can talk it in there. But you're right, it just makes such a big difference. And then you talk about having the system. We talked about this on the other podcast a little bit, but honing in your speech, right? Like kind of that formula. Let's just talk about that real briefly here
Yeah.
about storytelling and, things that they should really include in their speech.
Yeah. You kind of cut out for a
Or
minute.
did I cut out? Oh, I was saying, like, what are the things that they should remember to include in their speech? We talked
Oh,
on our other podcast, which I want people to go to, but just the things, the top things that they should be including in their speech, like we talked about storytelling.
yes. Yeah, for sure storytelling, and I always say at least 3 stories within if you're having a 45-minute, 50-minute, like, I put in quite a bit of stories whenever I talk because I feel like that's what people remember. They remember the stories a lot more than they do, like, the data, of things, and so
Yeah,
I feel like a good speaker really makes the audience feel seen, and they give them feelings of like
yeah,
whether it's good, bad, inspiring, but people remember the way you made them feel more than they remember
yeah,
your actual words. And so people
yeah,
can do this through storytelling. And the best speakers that I've ever heard have intertwined a lot of stories into their talks to make their
yeah,
point. It just makes those points that they're trying to get across a lot more memorable. So, yeah, lots of stories is very important. And then tie it together in the end where they can contact you, obviously, and where they can find, help you and you can help them. So tie that in and give them motivation to do it and always offer to help the audience because that will help you
yeah,
remember. That will help you be remembered as well as a helpful person. People like helpful people.
yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, tell people where they can find you and work with you to get booked as a speaker, Nona.
Yeah, for sure. So email me anytime, Nona, Nona, at speakerelevation.com. My LinkedIn is Nona Prather. I'm pretty sure I'm the only Nona Prather out there. And yeah, just book a time with me. And I'd love to have a coffee chat, talk about your business and see if you need any fine tuning or if you're open to any ideas. And then, of course, my book is 24 Ways to Get Paid to Speak. And it's available on Amazon in Audible, and in hard copy, of course. So
I love that it's Audible, right? I think everybody should have an audiobook. If you don't have an audiobook, call me. You need an audiobook, all right? We're even doing AI audiobooks now if you don't want to take the time in the studio. So we've got that available as well. And if you're looking to becoming award-winning author and a best-selling author, we offer book awards and bestseller. So and if you want to get on stages, please contact Nona and grab her book because there's great content in there. So we'll see you next time. Keep writing, everybody, and we'll see you. Have a great week. Remember to share and like this podcast. Bye-bye, everyone. Hey, are you looking to increase your revenue, build credibility, and elevate your brand? This podcast is brought to you by Elite Online Publishing, an innovative publishing and full spectrum marketing company. They will publish and market your book to make it a #1 bestseller. Becoming an author is the best way to market your business. So contact them at eliteonlinepublishing.com today. All of their authors become #1 bestsellers.